No, you know what? You know what? You know what? You know what? Let's go for a new world record. Let's go for a new world. Guess what? World record commentary run. Here we go. All right, developer commentary and skip. That's exactly what I'm doing. World record, here I come. Ha ha! In your face. In your face. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna have double world record. King of Atama. That's me. What is it? What does Atama mean? What does Atama mean? Does it mean head? It better mean head. Okay.
Hello, this is Hunter Nance. I'm the lead developer for Atama. When I was growing up, I really enjoyed playing through developer commentary mode in various games, but after about 10 years ago, for whatever reason, it seems like games stopped doing that, so I wanted to make sure that my game had that in it.
To stop the commentary node,
rundown, basically there's going to be audio
click it
like
again.
This one that'll give some commentary as well as images that you'll be able to click on and get additional information.
Oh, I forgot to hit the timer, but it's okay. We go by the game
timer. You don't need to worry about enemies in this mode. It works the same as story mode, where if you do get caught, they'll just disappear and you'll be able to move on from there.
I love how the remote viewing sound came out. I like sound engineering. I like Foley work because you get to do all sorts of weird stuff like this. So what this is like 5 different things layered over each other. I've got some like slimy, goopy, fleshy...
Okay.
This scare was actually originally made by accident. Early on, the heads would only check if they could see you, and if so, go after you without determining if they had a route to actually make it. And the hole in this gate was actually smaller than it is now, but at the right angle,
commentary world record
on the other side could occasionally see you, and it freaked me out when it happened, so I decided to program in a trigger.
This is the courtyard. It's sort of
the slow beef
game. I think it's the one we made first, though. Actually, courtyard contains the first like proper puzzle, and
the distraction bell puzzle was really tricky because there needed to be a balance of it not being completely obvious, but also not frustrating the player into giving up and thinking there was nothing they could do in the area, or attempting to brute force it by aggroing the baby enemy. The very first thing I did to try to make it more apparent was cutting a hole in the corner of the adjacent shanty house so you could see the bell from the main area, and then also cut the
okay, new strat, come with the ladder from the side.
And get behind it.
That makes it easier.
All the way around. Then I added a little light to the bell, but all of this still wasn't enough. So then I added a note.
Oh, fuck!
So this rooftop area is funny. It's got like a little transition scene, which when I...
Originally, the plan for the sleeping enemies was going to be a little bit more involved. One of the main goals we had was to have every area present something new. The first area was the first, and the second area added distraction bells and a sleeping enemy, as well as being a bit more of a puzzle and more calm area than the first area, which was more of an action sequence. Originally, this area didn't have these safe zones marked by the Ofudas, and the plan was that you could hide places, but you needed to get out of the line of sight for it to actually be effective. This made it more realistic, but also made it much more difficult, and so people had issues with this area, and we basically needed either some form of safe zone or a checkpoint.
Aw, come on, man!
I really didn't want a checkpoint because I wanted players to actually need to take the time to learn the patterns of the enemies and to get it all in one go. So safe zones were a bit of a compromise. Unfortunately, they do hurt the immersion a little bit, but the Ofuda giving them a slightly magical property or a gameplay
the baby
working this way helped a little.
Was that famous rapper Narda the baby?
Behind the scenes secret. The heads do have names. They are...
Okay, no, I know I'm doing mindless quoting like I normally do anytime I like think words. But Urban Rescue Rant's actually kind of a fun YouTube channel. The guy seems kind of jerky, but you know, I mean, he's doing good. He's doing good.
Forget how players will feel.
If you were to ask me maybe a year ago, what's the name of that thing in Japan? It's the bamboo thing that you pour water into it and it tips over and pours the water out and then it comes back up and it makes that knocking sound. I probably would have told you, you know, oh, it's right on the tip of my tongue. And now I will tell you that thing is called a shishi adoshi, and that is burned in my brain forever because of how many times I...
Sound effects. And then
Sorry, I couldn't hear you there, Rocco.
So for the gongs itself,
Rocco.
you know, start with what it is. I have a library of sounds that I pull from, and I have a gong in there. I have several gongs in there, and so I got that and I loaded that in.
Okay.
And then I also have some sci-fi laser beam pew pew kind of sounds, and so I layered those two over and mixed them down. And then I took the laser beam layer and
Now, got the thing about story mode and casual. I'm sorry, I mean developer mode. Well, that's just not how you do that part at all, Mokoi. What are you doing, you silly little guy? Oh fuck! God damn! That was fucking scary. Oh my god. I'll try to hit this one.
The idea of having a sliding door area.
Oh shit! Fucking A!
We came up with extremely early,
scaring me.
even back when we were planning only to have a vertical slice instead of a full game. Originally, the idea was going to be... So one thing that's kind of interesting is all of these enemies in this area clearly look a little different, and there's, obviously storyline reasons why, but also a reason why we wanted to do that was we kind of like this idea of as you progress, the enemies... When I made the manor, I had pretty clear ideas for what I wanted it to look like, but the tower was kind of like, yeah, I mean, there's going to be a rotating enemy that goes up and down, and some things to hide behind, and it'll be cool to have some verticality like what we originally planned for the rooftops. But
come on,
beyond
Todd.
That,
come on,
I
Todd.
didn't really know.
Move your ass, Todd.
So the first version of it was kind of phoned in after making the servants' quarters that I was really passionate and excited about. But then it felt like it was way too fast and easy to...
I coined the name Mayo as a shortened form of the word
mayonnaise,
which is the Japanese word
for mayonnaise.
Word for Pluto, as in.
I will give you one big kudo, is that the commentary stops for the jump scare and then resumes.
So the way that went was
that's smart.
I was looking for a touchstone for what to name this character, this overlord that ran.
I probably should have looked directly at him.
And I know that he's very wealthy, and I know that he's not literally royalty.
When I made the manor, I had pretty clear ideas for what I wanted it to look like, but the tower was kind of like...
Oh,
yeah.
Why the
So
dick statue? Why the dick statue?
If you look up
Explain to me the dick statue.
Very symmetrical, very nice looking.
Was that made, or did you find that on the Unity store?
It's not the building you go into. So you also see that there's two switches here. If you use the one on the left, that'll take you up.
So I'm sure the more observant of you have noticed that we have two main characters in the game, Kaida and her aunt Noriko, and we have a voice actress portraying Kaida, and her name is Norika Koide. So what's going on there? Nothing. It's actually a total coincidence. So Hunter...
Nah, dude, that is 5,000%
like
dick.
Short phrases
that is a statue of a dude jerking himself.
Because only one of us on the team speaks Japanese.
No.
Dedicated like Team Zutsu, being Oren Ronan, and
that is Pingus.
He's like, I'm not a voice director or anything like that. I hope I don't talk about Siren in every single dev commentary thing I do here, but there's a cool thing in Siren that I always liked, where you look through, they're like new enemies that like look differently than the regular ones, and maybe they're
the Nahobino or whatever
it's called, but it's sort of surprising and weird. So we knew we wanted to have a less standard enemy.
As mentioned before, we really wanted every area to offer something new or a little different than the other areas. So the idea with the mines was to provide a bit more of a normal or traditional horror game experience, rather than allowing the player to rely on the remote viewing mechanic. The other areas of the game, you can have more or less perfect information about where the enemies are by looking through their eyes, but here, the enemies have
Oh, come on!
such bad eyesight and most of the environment looks so similar to one another, the amount of information you get from remote viewing is very limited. It does, however, still communicate to you that
Nah, it's artistic
have worse eyesight
license.
than most of the enemies in the game, unless you're near a light source. Whereas normal enemies in this game generally either rotate, stand still, or follow a set patrol, these enemies will...
Come on. Alright. Nah, dude, that's a statue of a guy jerking off, and you could tell me it's not. Some guy in Romania could tell me it's not, but I know in my little green heart that no, absolutely,
one of the things we wanted,
absolutely is.
Hunter and I definitely
not.
agreed on was we wanted things more like.
It is not
Hill.
not
About,
a guy.
Silent Hill game, especially let's say Silent Hill 1, right? Is you have all these horrible things going on. And maybe it has to do with like Dr. Cox, or maybe it has to do with the Cult of Samurai.
Oh man, developer commentary world record. Here I go.
Never totally just told to you. You know, you're not.
Oh no, I thought I'd restart it. Good on that, I guess.
The chase sequence with the angler is sort of faked, but not really. I didn't want players to be very likely to die here, but I did want...
Man, it's still disappointing to me that
basically
it's just an angler and it's not Noriko. It's like
too far away, it speeds up.
I don't know.
But there's still enough speed.
When
no matter what,
when I first ran away, I was like, "Oh, Noriko's headless body. I guess headless Noriko is around here somewhere." And like, this would be the perfect time.
It works pretty well because anytime that you quickly look back,
That'd be a headless Noriko.
Movement is a little weird. But if you want to try and see what I mean, you can try turning around and walking backward. Like 11 years ago when I first played through Amnesia the Dark Descent on developer commentary mode, there's a part in that game where you go down an elevator. And I remember in the developer commentary...
I assume if I collect all the coins...
basically they were having physics issues if you're on the elevator and they tried moving the elevator
I assume if I collect all the coins, I get like
all the walls
a final boss fight against Noriko.
It looks like you're going down, but in actuality, everything else is moving.
Or I magically save Noriko and we blast the heads with purple together.
To just have it move and see what happens. And sure enough, there were similar issues, so what winds up happening is I actually did the exact same thing.
We use the power of family.
For commentary mode.
Also, why is Tomoko the main character? She's cute. I was like, yo, Protag's cute, but no. We are not the...
It took me a while to find what I'd call the sound of Atama, because I didn't want to just rip off all my favorite horror games.
The new mechanic for the Old Town segment is the fact that, oh shit, there's a giant head, and you can look through its eyes to serve as a form of map to figure out the enemy's paths
I do think that was pretty cool.
Scrutinize each head individually quite as much. The other thing is that this area has a ton of tight alleyways and buildings to jump into to hide, so while the enemies can see you from extremely far away, it is also probably the easiest area in the game to escape from enemies. Honestly, it is probably somewhat close to the original concept for the Shantytown alleyway area in that regard. Another thing slightly unique about this area is that the other outdoor areas in the game are about making your way through. Whereas here you can easily skip most of the town, but then you get
that is one consistent.
so you actually have
two,
to go back into
I
the
do it
depths
every
of the town and
time.
explore,
3,
rather than just
good job,
I came into the
Mokoi.
project fairly late and was responsible for mostly technical stuff most people would not find interesting. I could talk about my adjustments to the
I love this
camera
guy's
systems
voice.
and the UI screens, but unless you really hate how many...
I imagine him as like a pangolin.
So one of the things, you know, I'm glad...
It's like an armadillo that walks on 2 legs.
Me off the ledge here, because I really did just want to make Siren, in the sense that, you know, Siren has a thing where you have...
So, first of all, heads up.
Oh,
Really,
purple
heads
power
up that you don't need
activate!
to worry about the collapse on this mode. When the Overseer is about to collapse, it will just restart back to the top, so take your time. Originally, the idea for this area was going to be that the collapse would happen relatively fast, and there was going to be 10 enemies with multiple routes, and you're going to need to use the Overseer's view to help you figure out the maze before he crash landed. But then I had the kind of wild idea of, What if it turned into a first-person shooter for the last segment, and you could shoot the enemies with a blast of energy from the heirloom, and it would make them dissipate altogether? But then Slow Beef gave me the much better suggestion of, what if you could incapacitate them while remote viewing them?
I thought I got him, but then I remembered they do the little spin.
Interesting and unique mechanically, but also it would be way easier to implement since we already had most of the needed systems in place and partially implemented. Some variations on how it could work were, in games, if you can't get to your area, then that means there won't be anything over there, or the backs of all of those buildings.
Wait, that wasn't Todd at all! I've been lied to!
Or the object will have a low-res texture on it if it's far away.
Todd, why?
But in this game, doing these
I
sorts
thought
of
I hit
tricks
7.
is a lot more challenging than usual because you don't only have to worry about what the player can see, you have to worry about what all the heads can see. This enemy hiding in the forest and rotating wasn't on the original map I drew when planning out this area. The main reason I added it is because when I was testing the area, some of the colliders were broken, so enemies started seeing me from places they shouldn't. And when I gazed through one of those enemies' eyes, they were flying through the forest between trees and chasing after me through the dense forest, and I thought it was really freaky. So I wanted an enemy in the forest in a
Okay,
similar way.
so when there's fewer of them,
exactly the same vibe,
the number changes.
I still wanted something similar.
Okay. Alright, and here we go. Yeah.
There's so many people to thank through this whole thing. You know, I've talked before about where Atama came from and things like that, and I might have mentioned the tweet that started it all, and somebody said, you know, nobody makes a video game alone, and I just asked, like, well, who wants to make a game with me? So
and what do we got? Oh, fuck. Credits. Skip. Yo, 1451! World record dev commentary! Crown me king! Oh, double world record holder Mokoi, king of everything! Thank you! Thank you! Hooray! Hooray for Mokoi! Yeah! Yeah, I did! Yo, this song pretty banging though. You found this for free? Oh yeah, 1451! I did it! Double world record king! Oh. Yeah, you kinda gotta make music like this if your name is fucking Johnny McBain. That's a comic book character name. Like, no offense. Like, I say that because it sounds cool. Johnny McBain. This summer, Jason Statham is Johnny McBain. Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Yo, Dev Commentary King! What up? Hey! Mokoi the Double King!